Good morning, guys. Morning. Audio should be all set. We're on the right mic. Beautiful. Morning, everyone. How we doing? Get the schedule out here. What's going on, Reba? How you doing? Everything is all set. Awesome. All right. Jump right into the data. What we're anticipating for today. Kind of strange that we didn't really sweep the Newsweek high or low yet. We're going to open right smack dab in the middle of that CPI range. We did sweep over previous day's high, though. That will also be included for what's going on, Freedom Trader. It'll also be included for the gap fill and the inside bar stat. So 628.87 is what we're going to target into open, and maybe a little bit higher. Put that up at the top there. Beautiful. Just got a decent sweep over previous day's high. Nothing crazy, though. And then our London 50. So this one, Freedom Trader was talking about this yesterday. This one's a little bit better in terms of what we're anticipating for a break up or down. The gap fill by size is sitting at, we're only at 0.09%, so we should pretty easily open within that first range. Need to be zoomed in on that. 0.00 to 0.19 for the gap. With a gap up, we have a 94% chance it fills on ES, which is where we're sitting right now. And then going over to Qs, it usually sits at about an 88. Oh, it's at 90 now. So what we ideally look for is a sweep of the Newsweek low that also lines up with a sweep of the gap fill or fulfillment of that gap fill by size. And then look up for previous day's high, because we also have that inside bar stat for today. And the inside bar stat, obviously, that sits at 76% chance that we have a break of previous day's high or low. Probably not going all the way to the low from yesterday at 620. That'd be a $7 drop with CPI coming out bullish. And then for today, we don't have any of the news for the tariff vote. The only big thing that we kind of have later today is the budget deficit, and then tomorrow we have the bigger of the two, the Federal Reserve's beige book, so the balance for the Fed. This one, the 2 p.m. news today is usually off by several hundred billion, tens of billions at the very least. Previous 87 billion, estimate 150 billion. This probably isn't going to do very much. We don't have any significant news, I would say. We do have home sales at 10. That's not really that big of a deal. What I'm going to be looking for into open, given that it's only a 10% chance that we don't go and fill that gap, I'm looking for us to go down 626.26. Sweep the Newsweek low, and then we'll have a continuation up, ideally. And then kind of the same thing for SPY. SPY is right at previous day's high, so this one's not going to have a draw on liquidity, the same draw on liquidity as Q's is going to have. Previous day's high, previous day's low. I don't think it's going to go to previous day's low. If we open underneath previous day's high, it still needs to fulfill that gap fill stat, or the inside bar stat, sorry. And then our London 50, we actually just had a perfect bounce off that. The gap that I'm talking about is the gap down. We're up 0.09%. So that gap, that 0.0958 cents, that needs to get filled. So we might not go and fill all the way down to the Newswick low. I usually like seeing a Newswick low get taken out, but realistically, we only need to go and hit 627.16. That's yesterday's close right here. 627.18 actually is the close from yesterday. So we just need to hit that. That fulfills the 90% gap fill stat. And then we should go and take previous day's high pretty easily. I did take another play in the afternoon yesterday on Apex. I took a long over previous day's high, and I ended up being in the position for 45 minutes, and it moved 10 points. It's just further putting out why I do not trade after that IB break. What's going on, Bob? How you doing? Bull Nuts, Diesel, Freedom Trader, Marshall, Terrence. So we had a really nice play on CPI this morning as well. Took it on Tradeify, and it was just a stop market sell, stop market buy, stop market sell, 15 points. It was a CPI strangle. Stop market buy, 15 points above, stock market sell, 15 points below. And we just had a pretty nice 120 point move up off CPI. I got out for 40 points on 4MNQ. So still made $320, but could have been a lot better. It's okay. How about NAS? Same thing on that on Qs. QQQ has the same gap on SPY does. They're both actually perfectly lined up right now next to CPI. What's going on, Mike? How you doing? I think we'll probably have. Oh, why did it log me out again? We'll probably have a pretty quick fill. The Newswick low isn't that big of a data point for us to be taking a look at. Sorry, the gap fill is the bigger one, so it's just 42 cents down. That's where this arrow is pointing to, 627.15, 18. Sorry. The Newswick low from CPI 626.22. I usually like seeing Newswicks get taken out, similar to what happened on Friday. So Friday we had NFP. This one was a little different because it was only $1 candle up. We're looking at a pretty significant wick low and wick high for CPI. This one's $3 instead of the $1 that we had for NFP. But anyway, the NFP candle, we had a Newswick high formed at 624.05, and then the low was formed at 621.90. We went down, filled it directly into open, and then that was another reason that we had a draw to the upside on Friday that I kind of missed. The CPI days, it just talks about filling for edgeful. So I'll go, I like using Qs for it. CPI performance and then CPI reaction. These ones just show the range in the performance. The performance one, not really anything that we need to look at. It's just saying what the performance is for CPI data. So it's not a trend. It's not data that we can really play. It's just showing what CPI happens to create for a move the day before, day after, and the day of. I've never used this one. I don't think it's that useful. Only thing it shows is that we're trending down for CPI volatility, which is a good thing because CPI is coming down quite a bit. And the other one just shows the range formed by CPI and what the reaction is on that range. So if we have a green reaction, we have a 1 in 3 chance of having a green day. And then if it's a red reaction, we have a 2 in 3 chance of having a red day. This one, again, I wouldn't put too much emphasis on. If it was a larger CPI print, so let's say we had a move all the way up to like 633, 635 for whatever reason, and you go and see that it's a 2 in 3 chance that that's an inverse move, then you can go and look to short to the downside. As it stands right now, this is just we could fulfill every data point that we have today and still make a red day. CPI has been pretty bare for the past 6 months anyway. So what this is technically saying is that we should close today red. We have a 2 in 3 chance of closing today red. This is also over 6 months, which again, CPI hasn't done anything for the past 6 months. I only got 20 points on it yesterday, Kowalski, sadly. Nothing big. We were sitting here waiting for it to retrace the 50%, and then it never did. So over 3 years, once this loads, there you go. So it's closer to 50-50 the further back you go. This one doesn't have as many data points for the red. 17 as opposed to 18, 12, 5, and that means some of these days also just close flat. Flat to green. So the further back you go, the more volatility is. If I did 5 years, it would also be closer to 50-50, but over 6 months, perfectly inverse. These are just, it's 3-1-2, 3-2-1. It's not significant data points. It's just low. Pretty random, yeah. I've never used the 2 reports. I've never really traded the ranges on them myself. The only thing I want to see is a Newswick high get swept. What's going on, Mikey? How you doing? Not too bad. Pretty random, yes. Yes, very random. How much should I make off CPI? 320 times 5. I wouldn't really count it as making 320. It's just getting closer to a payout, though, with Tradeify. Very nice. I finally... Oh, oopsie. I think there's only like 2 firms that you can't trade CPI on. I didn't do it on Apexes. I don't know if you can do news trades on it, but the position that I had, I was watching it right at 829. I just did buy 20 stop and then sell 20 stop. So CPI is a momentum data point. And that was not my own finding. That's just what I've seen many, many people do on CPI data releases. And then as long as you're smaller size, if you get filled, I did 15 points. So if I got filled with 1 MNQ, my risk was $60 because it was a 15-point range up and down, 30 points total. I was risking $60, ended up, well, I had 4 MNQ, so I was risking 240. I wish I'd held it a little bit longer because that thing ended up pushing another 95 points after I closed, sadly. Perfect bounce off London 50 as well. You can trade CPI with Apex. Thank you. Thank you, Levi. These ones I'm not too keen on trading news anyway. I mean, if I had done it, it would have just been one. I would have risked 60. And then the reward, I probably would have gotten tapped out for $80, maybe 100 if I held it for the entire thing. It was a pretty slow move up. I was sitting here watching it. We typically have, like, CPI comes out, you have a little teeny tiny wick down or in the opposing direction, and then it just shoots 100 points within 10 seconds. This one was almost a full 5 minutes to make that entire move up all the way up to 629. Kind of tricky in terms of the draws today because we're 70 cents away from, 90 cents away from the gap fill, and we're 70 cents away from that previous day's high. So we could real quick go and take that high and then have the gap fill and then just kind of do something like this all morning. Today is not the important day. Tomorrow is going to be. We have, as I just said, we have the Fed beige book tomorrow, but the more important one is that we have the ruling, the Supreme Court ruling, supposed to be, on Trump's tariffs. Whether that will happen or not, we'll see. But it was supposed to happen on Friday. It never did. They delayed it, or just said no data for today, no ruling for today. So if tomorrow they actually do vote on it, that would either, the repercussions is that we would have to pay back all of the money that we got from tariffs, which would probably tank the market pretty bad for a couple of weeks, a couple of months even. If they vote in favor of it, then we should have a pretty quick move back to 638 all-time highs. Do I trade gold overnight? If yes, what shut up? I've actually been just trading momentum on gold. Last night, it was a little early for it, I suppose, because it didn't end up holding that move, but I just had 3 MGC right here. Well, not 3 total. I had 3 1 MGC ads. And it ended up being, I got like 8 points, 10 points. And then I had an MNQ long last night that ended up doing decently well. So only 2 trades for me last night. The night before, though, on gold, I left the grid lines on here so I know that I'm trading gold and not MNQ. I don't want to accidentally go too MGC long during New York session. We don't trade gold during New York. This was the one that I caught. Unfortunately, I only caught 8 points of it with 1 MGC. 12, sorry, not 8. Caught 12. So I entered long at 45.40 because we had a 30-point pivot. It was either 45.44. That's where I entered. It was at like 6.33. And then I ended up selling on the red candle right here for 12 points, and it pushed another 50. So I could have made like 500 off of 1 micro. Did not hold it. But momentum's pretty much all I've been trading for gold during Asia. It's not too much for setups. Just waiting for, okay, we had a 38-point move to the upside. Gold's probably not reversing that whole thing. And I've been burnt more times than not trying to reverse it. So I just went long once I saw this wick down at 630. Stop loss was at the previous candle's low, because if it broke that low, then it reverses trend. If not, then it will continue to trend to the upside. Same thing I've been doing with MNQ. And the reason you can get away with that during Asia session, I think, is because there's not nearly as much manipulation. So like right now, trending pretty well. We have a 52-point move up from these lows down here. So look for red candles. I haven't done this during New York. New York has a lot more manipulation than Asia session. So I don't know if it will work as well, but what I would look to do if this was Asia, I would just look to enter if it goes and pulls back to, let's say, like 46.23, or even this candle right here, how it made a pretty nice wick. I would enter long there. And it's just one micro. I don't think you really need any more on gold. One micro with like a 10-point stop, $100 risk, or you can manipulate it however you want, an 8-point stop, 5-point stop. We are 40 cents away. We also just went into the second bracket of that gap fill stat. We still have a 72% chance to fill it, but not nearly as significant as the 90%. So there's still, it's a 1 in 4 chance that we don't go and fill it. News could hold us up for today. We'll see. Not super significant there. How good is gold on the IB? Terrible. Do not touch it, Freedom Trader. I'm going to save you the heartache right now. Do not touch gold during New York session. I promise you're going to have a bad time. I'll show you so yesterday it did end up working. Low form first high taken. But if we go and look at the data on gold, most of the days for the for the initial bounce break, most of the days are like 50-50 or less than that, meaning that it never goes and breaks the IB high. Like Monday, 41%, 25%. That means that 4 of these data points, or at least 40% of the time, gold will not break the IB range on a Monday if the highs form first. Low seems pretty good. I think the funniest one is Wednesday, where regardless of whether the high or low is formed first, it still goes and breaks the high. Oh, never mind. Wednesday is your gambling day on gold. 50-50, 50-50. That's why I don't trade the IB on gold during New York. yeah, best leave it. Don't touch it. You traded 15-minute fair value gaps on gold. I'm not dissing on gold at all. It just doesn't. I kind of am, but it just doesn't work for my strategy whatsoever. I like trading it during Asia because there's near no manipulation. New York has a lot of manipulation. It took me 3 losing trades during New York to realize that my hands get burnt every time I trade gold during New York. So definitely not touching it. I've had like perfect example right here, January 7th, where I enter a long targeting the IB or I enter a short targeting the IB low, and it just makes a 20-point candle for whatever reason, stops me out and goes to the TP anyway. Or if I were to enter long at like the 10:30 candle, 20-point wick, and then it goes in the direction I was looking for. Happens very often during New York, but very reliable during Asia. This one, pretty tricky last night. I did enter short because this was a 32-point candle right here. 31-point candle. So the momentum was down. I waited for it to wick back up, went short, added in one. Tradeovate was also, 2 of these entries weren't mine. I don't know what happened last night. Tradeovate, I know they did go down at like 11 o'clock, but I was entering positions and they weren't pulling up. So I was spam clicking exit at market, and then ended up adding another position. That's why all these P&Ls are so different. 130, 122, 120, 116. The trade copier has been working perfectly all week too, or for the past 2 weeks. But last night it was a little weird. Same thing with MNQ. So that's why there's a few more orders here than there should be. I think Rebecca was the one that posted that we're not even going to have the gap fill stat to open. 36 seconds, 0.02% gap right now. Let's make a little more sense as to what I was referring to from yesterday, Freedom Trader. This one has a little bit more of a confluence or a bias that we can assess, even though we have CPI today. Just interested if it is any stat-based strategy. The stat with golds, the stat with trending in general, I love saying this all the time. 80% of the time you have something trending in a direction, it will continue to trend in that direction. Only 20% of the time it will reverse. So very clear yesterday, we were in an uptrend all day. 4 out of 5 times that trend will continue on a pullback. 1 out of 5 times it will pivot. So your stop loss, and this is why I like putting the stop loss below the previous candle's low, or below, put it at a point where it will signal the trend has pivoted. We had 1 pullback. That would have generated a win, 2 pullbacks, another win, 3 pullbacks, another win, 4 pullbacks, another win. The 5th pullback was the one that ended up losing. So this is a damn near perfect representation of trading a trend. 4 out of 5 times you're going to win on it. 1 out of 5 you're going to lose just entering the trend on a pullback. Also, we no longer have the gap fill stat for today. The gap is already taken. London 50, yet again, not really anything we can do with this. What I would have wanted to see is a close over London 50 for the opening candle. I guess there's still time for us to take it. Close over London 50 for the opening candle, retest it, and then continue up. But we've already taken 1 stat off. We have that gap filled by size on Qs. That's already been filled, so that should bump it up to 91, 92% next time we take a look at it. And then we should go and take out previous day's high, 628.86. SPY also opened underneath previous day's high, so that should go and take out 696.09. 2 points of confluence for us to have a little move to the upside. Not a very big one, but that's a 76% stat. I guess it technically 76% chance we also go to previous day's low. I just don't think that one's as likely. Bullish CPI, and we are $1 away from previous day's high, but it could. We did the same thing yesterday. Yesterday was $1 away from previous day's low and ended up taking previous day's high. So never say never. Good morning, Roland. How you doing? Any trades from you yet? Did you take the CPI strangle? Play the data wick? Nice. Shorts or longs? If you played the wicks, probably shorts. Now that I know you can trade news on Apex next time, I'll probably just do 1 M&Q. Could do it for PPI tomorrow as well. But it's a really reasonable risk for a crazy big reward. As long as you're not doing it with like 4 NQ and full porting, you should be fine. But if you're trying to do it for like $80 to $100, especially on 20 accounts, it's still going to be a 2K trade, just almost no risk to the 2K. Long 2 evals, long 2 EV, long 2 EV short, data play, then went short and funded for, evals. 200 each, nice. PPI sounds good. Should be able to do it on PPI, right? So you can do the same thing. It's doing the example, I almost wouldn't have gotten filled. So you do buy 20 like that, and then you do sell 20 stop. That's pretty much exactly what I did this morning. A little bit tighter than that, but right where that candle opens, and then the data is a directional move. So you get filled for the buy order, and then it continues pushing to the upside. And then at worst case, at wicks, you get filled for the buy order, and then it goes down. Your stop loss is already set. So you get stopped out for 30 points. Smaller size is required. If you do that with 2NQ, then that 30-point stop is going to correlate to what? $1,200 blown account. Or 600, 1,200? 1,200 sounds right, better. At least we got 2 back-to-back days of SPY and Qs doing the same move. The curse has been lifted. SPY should take a pretty quick wick to 696.07. This is a pretty bare price action into open, especially with CPI. SPY has not done anything. And Qs is 70 cents away. With that wick high at 60 cents. That also means that so far for the IB low formed first on the IB high. So if we continue up at all, going to be targeting more upside. Then you had a question about playing it with options this morning, Freedom. If you do end up playing, I would just play the IB with futures. If you go and play it on Tesla, for example, the longer it takes, Tesla ended up taking about an hour and a half yesterday to break the IB high. That's an hour and a half where the contracts are going to just lose money from theta decay. Same thing if you're planning on trading it with like QQQ calls or SPY calls or heaven forbid SPX calls. The longer it takes, the more you're going to lose. And then by the time it breaks the IB, you might not win anything. Good old theta decay. Stick the micros in the personal. Very good. Just about took that high on SPY. Missed it by 1 penny. So it still needs to go and take that previous day's high. I'm just happy to see they're going in the same direction. Which is the correlative pair for gold? It is silver. You want to trade gold, you trade gold and silver together. No problem. But what I did find out is on Apex, if anyone is trading on Apex, you cannot go long and short on correlative pairs. So I cannot, like good example from last week, the IB on Thursday, where SPY was targeting the IB high break, but Qs was targeting the IB low. You cannot go long on MES and go short on MNQ or vice versa. Because Apex considers that hedge trading and they will liquidate your account for it. Same thing for gold and silver. Same thing for YM and ES or YM and NQ. So just stick with one and trade that. SPY is doing absolutely nothing to open. 5-minute candle was just 36 cents. Not on evals though, no. Evals you can do whatever you want. They don't care about that, but once you get to the funded account, you can't go and hedge anything, even if it's accidental. You can though, you can go, this is what I've always done on most firms. Typically if MNQ is going up, gold is going down and vice versa. So you could somewhat hedge Obviously, it doesn't happen all the time, but you could somewhat hedge with gold longs and MNQ longs, since most of the time they do counter each other, but it's not correlative assets, so you don't have to worry about breaching any rules or anything. Qs is definitely stronger than SPY today. We're about to go and take that previous day's high. That will fulfill the inside bar stat. Just took it. 628.81, 628.84. There we go. Just broke it by 3 cents. So previous day's highs taken out. No longer have a draw to that level. And SPY also took previous day's high. Finally. 696.09, 696.09 equal high. Still counts. So no more draw on the inside bar, but what we should see is hopefully that IB high holds. We should pretty quickly go and take out the Newswick high, even though we sadly haven't taken the Newswick low. Kind of stinks. So look for a pullback on the IB now and then long. Obviously, we still have 40 minutes on that. And then we have pending home sales at 10. We have one speaker at 10, and then at 2 o'clock, which hopefully no one will be trading at 2, we have the budget deficit. So if you guys see a massive move at 2 o'clock this afternoon, you know why. Let's see what MSTR is sitting at. We have 93K in Bitcoin, 166, 167. Bad. I need that thing to keep pushing for me. Here comes the Newswick high. Would you have taken any longs on these, Roland? Because we did get a 3-minute and 1-minute closure over London 50. I wouldn't have taken, I obviously didn't take anything, but I wouldn't have taken anything anyway. Just trying to figure out how you trade it, because you trade London 50 so much better than I do. He's not in here, I'll tag him. So if we get a closure over previous day's high, I'm kind of scared to take it like we did yesterday, because it was 45 minutes of absolutely nothing. With New York open, it might be a little bit better. I took it at this closure over 627.90, 627.88, 627.90, and it was 45 minutes of absolutely nothing. And of course, I ended up selling it just before it made the move up. It was 10 points over 45 minutes, which is ridiculous. 1 MNQ. This is pitiful for a CPI open. 16 cents. Jeez. Well, kind of inversing each other now. That's not good. SPY made a new IB low. We didn't quite get the sweep of the IB, not the IBI, the CPI Newswick. Which usually is a draw. SPY is probably going to the low of that. This is rough. Man, I knew I shouldn't have wore this shirt today. It's bad luck. Tesla opening inversion, 5-minute opening green. Nothing there. It's a Bitcoin up to 93 again. Bitcoin finally made it a higher low. We held 90,000, which is good. It's making a nice equity curve too. We might have, for any crypto guys, should have a nice move. All right, we held over nothing. Held over London 50, but we got SPY and Qs going in the opposite direction yet again. I watched these two together for the better part of 6 months, and we have not had anywhere near this amount of detachment over those 6 months. Maybe a day or two here and there, but pretty much all of last week they went in the opposite direction. And then we're starting. Yesterday was fine. Yesterday we had a really nice IB break, even though SPY was too strong. It couldn't let Qs retrace the whole way. But this was still a 35% retracement, which was, I think it peaked at like 60 points for the reward. We only got 20. But for right now, Qs is definitely stronger. Took out equal highs on previous day's high. Didn't even put a liquidity sweep in there, which I guess we kind of did with CPI, that Newswick. That might have been the sweep itself. At 1 M&Q right now. 1 M&Q, 1 MES. Not trading gold. PPI, I'll try that same play for tomorrow. The 15-point strangle up and down. What's going on, Wall Dive? How you doing? Still think it's your fault, Bob, that we're getting this nasty divergence again. What's going on, Mark? How you doing? Will I stream PPI? No. No, I'll take the trade on it, though. I think it should be fine. Man, what's pushing SPY down right now? Is it finance again? Oh, not really. Healthcare, maybe? Healthcare, I guess credit a little bit. It's the only deep red that's on here. I read the same. I read that gold is better than for PPI than NQ. You could do it with one. Where was our 830 move on gold? Yeah, it could do the same thing. Gold never had a wick down, so I don't know what is the size of the strangle that you would do. Because I do at least know that MNQ usually makes about a 100-point move on PPI and CPI. So 15 points should yield you about 85 if you hold it long enough, unlike what I did. But what would you do for gold? Because this only had a 20-point move. Would you do a 5-point strangle? 7 points? And then the only downside to that is that your risk is a little bit more on gold even if you do 5 points. All right, I kind of want MNQ to make a new low. This is not yielding anything for us right now. Didn't we have Freedom Trader yesterday as our divergence omen? I'm not happy to be poo-pooing on RIB plays, but if this continues the rest of this week, I'm going to have to do something. Are you abandoning the IB, Bob? I don't know if you were around for, I don't know how long you've been watching it, but last week was, obviously we had Tuesday last week. This one was incredible. I'm going to have to change my Discord name or something. Yeah, Mikey did that. Mikey changed his name from Mikey to Jinx, and it fixed everything. So Tuesday was fine. Friday even was okay. But for weeks before, the IB was working perfectly. Even during Christmas, like we had that 1 to 4 risk reward. I didn't take that one. Still worked out really well. This one was a perfect 50% retracement. Took the low at 12:30. Another 50% retracement, even though that Friday never ended up breaking. Another 50% retracement. Another 50% retracement. Another 50% retracement. So it worked for like, had to have been 3 weeks in a row, and then all of a sudden we're getting this. Which I don't know what this is all about. I don't like it. You're doing it for an Apex eval. Let me know how it goes tomorrow. We can go and reminisce on some good IB plays, I guess. This one was a pretty damn good one, too. This one right to 50%. I remember that one very well. This was one of the first ones I took on the edgeful stream. Perfect 50% retracement. Got in at like 10.20 something, 10.22. Sold right at the IB low. It was like a 70-point win, and then I ended up missing on another 200 points to the downside because it just continued to free fall all day. But we had so many. Oh, I miss it. Even the one that didn't end up breaking the IB, this was a perfect retracement, and then it made a really nice move down. $3 move would have been, I don't know, 75-point reward. We're waiting for it to form right now, so there's no harm in going to look at these trades anyway. This one was a nice trend break. This one didn't really oh, this was a FOMC day. That's why we didn't trade that. I remember that day. This IB was another retracement. I guess this one didn't really work either. This one did. I remember this trade as well. Come on. There we go. I got entered on that wick back up to 626. Another perfect example right here. Retrace down, but this one never ended up breaking it either, so never mind. This one did. That was really nice. Oh, I miss it so much. IB formed, 50% retracement, straight to the downside. We'll be back there eventually, I'm sure. It's not like the strategy doesn't work anymore. The market has been rough. A lot of the, I like that. I'm going to have to change my name to IB Bob. That's a good one. At least I know it's not just the IB strat. A lot of people have been struggling. It's New York has been rough. Asia session's been fine. New York has been the one that's been not so good. Even if you were revenge trading right now, you are not capitalizing on more than like a 20-point wick directional move anyway. I know what it is though. It's the reason. Live on YouTube too, Gene. The reason that we're having this move is because we're in a pretty nasty consolidation. So price is waiting to distribute. Once we get through this, and I took a look at this last night too, not from April, but December to February last year, we did the same exact thing. Given this was also Trump's tariff, so we didn't really have much upside bias. Not really anyone was looking to go upside. Once we finally distributed, we had 3 months of really nice directional movement, albeit to the downside. It was still nice to play for futures. Not so much for options and shares, but nice on futures. Could you expand more on the concept of being short bias when we were below 50% of the range and long bias when we were above 50%? So the long bias, I don't really use this one anymore. This is from one of T's videos, T Trades. The long bias and short bias is just as simple as looking, okay, we're over previous day's 50. So we should be targeting previous day's high. We're under previous day's 50. We should be targeting previous day's low. That's in essence what his daily bias video is. And then you should also look for other confirmations. I don't really use the previous day's 50 for bias anymore, which hasn't really worked as well for me as it used to. We should be fine on Qs as long as we go and take a new IB low. SPY's only moved $1 into open, which sucks. But yeah, it's the beginning of the year too. What's the data showing for today? We already fulfilled both of them on Qs. Qs, we had the gap fill stat that had a 90% chance of filling. We filled that right at open, and then the inside bar one's already been taken. Screener is probably slightly bearish. It's 67% neutral. Nothing we can do about that. Ryan, the link should be in all of my descriptions. I don't know what you're viewing it on. It should be on my bento, the Discord link. It's the beginning of the year as well, yeah. It's this distribution is what's it sucks waiting through the distribution or the consolidation, sorry, but the distribution that we're going to get outside of this is going to be exponential because it's been coiled for going on 4 months now. 4.5 months of price coiling to a nice point. I don't. The previous day's 50 I don't really use anymore. Personal bias is bearish to start the year off, but we shall see. A lot of this is pending on what happens for Trump's Supreme Court approval or denial for his tariffs. Trump and Powell figure this out. Powell should be done next month. Should be. I know his term's done this year. I don't know when he leaves the Fed president position, though. His term is up this year. I think it's 10 years. How long can someone be Fed president? It was May. That sounds about right. I didn't know when this year it was, but I know that this is his last year of being Fed president. I think 5-year term, so he's done 2 of those, I believe. So he can't be Fed president anymore. Once he's out, we should have a lot smoother price action as well. But for now, we just kind of have to suffer through this pennant on the 24-hour. It is what it is. At the very least, after we have consolidation at the top or bottom of the pennant, it's getting tighter now, which is why we haven't had much directional movement. But when I was trying to pass the Lucid accounts, those Lucid 25Ks, I was trading it during this 10-day time frame, and then we finally got directional movement. That's why I was able to make so much when I did on the accounts. And then it pivoted right back up, had a nice directional move for like 2 days, and then nothing again. But because we're at a point, once we're outside of this trend, everyone's model should start printing here relatively soon. A lot of people have been struggling, and not in terms of making trades or making profit, but making the profit they were 2 months ago. Your method has helped me a lot. I am just $350 days away from being able to withdraw 2K times 3. Very nice. Glad to hear. Sizing down takes a lot of risk off the table as well. Because if you get caught, I used to trade like this when I first traded prop firms, and I know exactly how it feels. If you get caught in a day like this right now, and let's say you lost in the first trade, you're down $200. So you go into 2NQ and you just buy, sell, trying to get that 200 back. Next thing you know, you're down 800. And the reason being, I know because I did the same exact thing. You go and put a buy order in, and then you set your TP at $800 profit because that's how much you're down. You just want a break-even day. There's no directional movement for you to get up to 800, and then your stop loss ends up getting ticked at $200 or $400. And then after that, you just say, screw it, I'm not putting a stop in anymore. It's either going to hit or I'm blowing the accounts. And that is how you go and tilt, blow them. Still happens every once in a while. Are you talking about me? I'm talking about everyone that trades futures, because everyone will go through that same exact mindset. I will say as well, if you guys are struggling to get off of Project X, I've had a lot more success not trading on even though TradeAvate's UI is god awful. Not having the ability to just regularly trade on your phone, or how easy it is to get into trades on Project X, has helped a lot. Because if I want to enter a trade where it copy trades over all of my accounts, I need to go and sit down right here, sit down at my PC, open my PC, start it up, which takes like 30 seconds, open the TradeAvate, which takes another minute. And then I need to make sure all the accounts are copy traded. I need to put a buy order and a sell order, as opposed to just opening your phone, already being logged into Project X. There we go. It took a new low, so we can target the IB low. As opposed to opening your phone, already having Project X logged in and open, and then you can take a trade within like 15 seconds. And more times than not, that trade's just going to be a lousy one. So getting off of Project X has helped me significantly with not trading when I shouldn't. Very, very tight range again for today, but we can be targeting the downside. Spying cues are lining up finally. So that is our range right now. IB50 is at 25,970. It's only about 70 points that we're going to be targeting up or down. Hopefully it grows a little bit. IB by rejection for a Tuesday. I think Tuesdays have been pretty rough for the data on this. They should be almost fixed. So the high, we have a 72% chance of going and taking out the low today. If we form the low for us, this one's definitely overdue a loss. It's significantly over what the average is. And there's our IB. We made a slightly new low. Only 2 points. That increases the reward by 1 point. Don't tell me that, Kurt. TradeAvate has a mobile app, you say? Good to know. Yes, it's free on TradeAvate, the trade copier. I use all the built-in ones. The reason that I use the built-in one, get off my screen here. I don't want that. The reason I use the built-in ones and not Tradecopia or Replicanto is because if Replicanto or Tradecopia mess up, nothing can be done. They take no responsibility or no liability. There we go. This is what I use right here. Group trade, active, price free. Comes with Apex. It also comes with Take Profit Trader. Oh no, please don't look for it. Oh, I'm not looking for it. I've heard Tradeovate on your phone is even worse than Tradeovate on the app, or on the desktop. And it took me like a month to figure all this shit out anyway. I only use Project X as well. And I can say that Project X somewhat screws you over from how easily you can get into trades. IB low is form first right now. The one downside to this trade that I see, we're going to be targeting the IB low. We're looking for 50% of it and then targeting the low. The one downside to this that I see is that for the data low, we already swept it right there. We haven't swept the data high yet on SPY or Qs. SPY has swept the data low. Qs has also swept the data low. We have not taken the data high, which usually gravitates towards it. No, it does not. If you want to copy trade on Project X, you are not on Project X, sorry, on Tradeovate, you have to be trading on Tradeovate. You cannot link the account to Top Step. Not Top Step. You can't link the account to TradingView and then have it replicate over all the accounts. You have to be trading on Tradeovate, sadly. So it has to be, you have to be on Tradeovate for it to copy trade over all the accounts. The only way that you can copy trade by trading on TradingView is if you have a trade copier. So TradeSyncer, Tradecopia, Replicanto, whatever one you want to pick. I don't have any because I know it doesn't happen very often, but I've heard many horror stories of people saying that the trade copier gets messed up and it either doesn't exit your trades or it enters more than it should, or it only enters on one account. So you end up missing the trade on your follower accounts. Apex on Tradeovate isn't that bad. And figuring out Tradeovate wasn't that bad either. If I had never used Project X before and I just started on Tradeovate, I'd be fine. It took me maybe 2 weeks to figure out the user interface and everything on it. It took me like a month to get comfortable trading it, which I don't even know if I've been trading it for a month. I think it's been like 3 weeks, maybe. But it's really not that bad of a platform. It's a lot faster when you get in the trades and you see the dollar open P&L down here in the bottom. It's worlds faster than Project X. How do you set a stop loss? I actually don't set TPs. Well, let me rephrase that. I set the stop loss. I don't set the TP because you have to. I set the TP if it's within like a couple points of taking the level. If you forget to close your orders, this is the major downside on Tradeovate. If I were to go, for instance, let's say I set a limit sell order right here at 50%, we never go and hit that. Okay, let's say I do fill on it. I set my stop loss all the way up here at 26.41. Even if my TP gets hit, that stop loss order does not get canceled. So if I forget that I had the stop loss in place, and this happened to me passing one of my accounts, that's why two of them only have, or three of the accounts have one less trading day, like 18, 19, and 20. Those accounts are all like $70 less than the other ones. When I was passing the accounts, those three accounts, I left a limit sell order on. And when it filled, I hit my TP. I thought the account passed. I left the stop loss in and ended up filling that stop loss order. And then the accounts were like $70 off of passing instead of being passed, because that trade ended up going all the way until close, which kind of sucked. Turn in bracket orders. Your ATM is off on the screen. My ATM was that. I'm still learning Trade of 8. I'm sorry. Tried copy trading 150K and 50K with trade sinker. 50K copied fine. The 150K executed and quitted the trade for no reason after 2 seconds. Right of sell ask. What does ATM do for me? I think I've tried putting this on before. It only lets me put what does the ATM do? Oh, okay, good to know. You can't use ATM in group trading. Never mind. Never mind. Thank you. So I guess I won't be using that. That would have been a pretty good entry off, actually a perfect entry off that London 50 rejection. I could have taken that short. It would have been 40 points. We have 25.9 that should hold as a psych level as well. Oh, good rolling. I was going to ask if it was the trade from earlier on the 3 minute, if you would have taken longs off that London 50. I should have just taken shorts off that London 50 rejection. Say yapping. That would have been a good downside push. That was a perfect rejection on the 5 back to back. Well, I scratched that. I wouldn't have taken it on the 10 candle because that was news, but the 10.05 on that one might have been fine. So now we are looking for the IB50, which should also line up with London 50. If we get that within the next 10 minutes, we can take it. No worry, Mark. No worries, Mark. But it's a valid. It sucks when you forget the orders. When I'm trading Asia, and this is why I don't set the TPs anymore, I only have the stop order in because I don't want to forget or accidentally have some power outage happen, some freak accident happen where I have the TP in and the stop loss in, and the TP hits or the stop loss hits, and then my other order gets left open. I chart on QQQ because QQQ does not have any slippage on it. MNQ has slippage. Set. MNQ has slippage on the chart. That's why if you guys go on edgeful, if you ever go and look, QQQ, for instance, 72%, 87%, most of the time these are different if you go and look at MNQ. So MNQ on the IB by rejection, not IB by levels. Oh, this one's accurate for today. Most of the time it's off by a couple of percent. It's not anything. It's not a crazy amount of slippage. I go and execute on M and Q, yes. So I chart QQQ and M and Q are the same. I go and chart on this, and then I execute over on M and Q. The reason being, these candles are usually off by a couple of points. I've seen it off as much as 10 points before, 10 to 12 points. QQQ doesn't have slippage because it's more liquid, Kurt. There's a lot more volume in QQQ. It's the same thing. People are trading shares instead of trading futures. But for QQQ, as opposed to M and Q, if there's not an order, which it happens a lot more often, especially if you go and look at any book map or order flow, any given point on MNQ, there's only about 5 orders, and that's per point or per tick. So if we, like that little wick that we just made down right there, we did make it on Qs, but that could have just happened because there was no orders from 25,899 all the way down to 25,888. So it immediately pushes to whatever the next bid is. And it's the same for all trading, but QQQ has more liquidity on it. MNQ does not, since there's only a couple orders here and there. But we're definitely going to be looking for the IB low. We want it to retrace ideally up to London 50, and then we can push for the downside. What is your basis for your Asian trades? Just momentum on it. I like playing momentum on gold. Last night was not a good example of it. It kind of was. We were in a pretty clear downtrend from 11 o'clock. So I waited for a green candle at open and then went short. For this session, though, on Sunday's open, this was a very clear trend to the upside. So you don't want to go and try to short this or inverse it. Just wait for it to have a pullback, which is exactly what I did. I went long and then ended up getting 12 points. Had my trailing stop get hit too soon and ended up missing another 50 points, which kind of stunk. But it is what it is. This one was my mistake. I should have added on the 5-minute retest of the London 50. 627.49. London 50 did end up working today. I just didn't play it. I missed it because it was yapping. Sorry about that. It's good to know, though. I can't ever activate ATM because it won't work. That's why there's no on button here. That makes sense. It won't work with trade copying on Tradeovate. Is that correct? Which kind of sucks, but that just further validates why I only have the stop order in. Stinks. I don't think gold's doing anything. I'll look at it, but we are not trading this during New York. Not at all. The IB doesn't really mean anything for gold during New York, but I guess it kind of gives you a range to trade. I just refuse to go and trade it. Our 50% retracement is going to be right to IB 50, which is going to be in London 50. See you tomorrow, Freedom Trader. Hopefully the IB works when we get that retracement. Where would you trade London 50 again? I should have taken it on that retest. That 5-minute retest that we just had. As this would have been and the target already hit. Perfect entry at 625.41. Perfect exit, I mean. Then target low, yeah. London 50 entries. You enter on a retest of it. This one I'm a little regretful that I didn't take. That would have been a really nice, like 70-ish points. You want to enter at London 50, and then your TP is at London low or London high, whichever side you're targeting. For this one, it would have been London low. But we want this candle, hopefully, to retrace back up and then go down. There was no low set at that time. Could you really say you should have taken that? Yeah, because we closed under it. I wouldn't have taken it right on the 10 a.m. news, but this 10:05 candle, I should have taken it with that retest up. That's what I typically look for. It wasn't the IB also made a new low, so we would have been targeting a push to the downside in the IB as well. That wouldn't have been the IB trade. That would have been a London 50 targeting a London low. If we were vice versa, if the news candle came in bullish and we retested the London 50 to the upside, would have been targeting up to that IB, not IB high, the London high, 629.55. Same exact thing for SPY. SPY did it well before Qs did, but you can see we had that push underneath London 50, so it should have targeted down to London low, which not only was $1 move. I don't know what that correlates to, maybe like $30, $40 in MES. But yes, I 100% should have taken that trade. Did you stop selling puts in your 10K account? No, we're just in drawdown right now. So waiting to get out of those positions. I'm not too unhappy with the positions. I'm disappointed that we're still in drawdown on it, but I don't want to go and sell into leveraged assets because I don't think that we're going to have that bullish of the next couple of months on big tech. I do think Bitcoin's going to be fine, so those positions with Bull and MSTX are fine. Man, I really messed up not taking that. Definitely wouldn't have held it this long, but I don't know. I hope that we get a retest. So for London 50 or IB 50? London 50. Yeah, London 50, you always look for a retest. London 50 is it's not the same as the IB, but it's still been sloppy recently. This one wasn't as clean as I would have liked, but I still should have taken the entry on that. Always look for a retest. Always, always, always. I'd never take it like on that opening candle we had at 9:30. I wouldn't have taken shorts on that because that wasn't. We had a bullish move on CPI. That wouldn't have been a continuation of the trend. Whereas after that move, we had a move down. We had that 10-minute data go and sweep 625.93 and then retest. So that would have been a validation for shorts. Yeah, SPY and Qs are in sync right now. I'm not worried about that. I just regret not taking London 50. So we have 8 minutes on the IB now. We're looking for a retracement up to 627.05, and then we go short. And the reason that I always look for retracements is because I do not want to chase price and then have it make the move that I want it to, but get stopped out. Friday, I'm going to keep referring to this one. Friday is honestly what prevented us from taking that loss on Tuesday. We waited for the retracement. Friday, I did not wait for the retracement. And if you guys remember, we ended up taking 2 losses on this. The third one was a win, and that actually ended up making more than the 2 losses. Still ended up like 160 on the day, but took 2 $80 losses on this, trying to short it to the downside, not being patient enough to wait for the retracement. Some days it's not going to retrace. Monday didn't retrace. Tuesday did. Yesterday it somewhat retraced. It's still that retracement was still enough that it would have stopped you out if you were chasing the move to the upside, though. Didn't quite get to 50%, but it was still enough. So it just 50-50, I would say, on chasing trades as opposed to waiting for retracements, but it's still going to cause you a lot more losses if you just chase price action as opposed to waiting for a reset in the trend. I don't know. We might get a bounce off previous day's 50 for both SPY and Qs because they're lined up really well right now. I don't know if that's going to be enough to push us up to IB 50 though. That London 50 short's going to eat me up. Good news is we don't have a draw down to previous day's low because we already took previous day's high on both SPY and Qs. So we shouldn't go to 688. We might, but there's no draw down to that level. So we should stay relatively strong. 5 minutes on the IB. And we're going to be looking for a retracement back up to a level on MNQ is going to be 25,933. Pretty wide range today. 2642 all the way down to 25,825. 220 point range, 110 point trade if we can get back to 50. Where was our midnight open? Right there. That's almost lined up with holy smokes. Hopefully none of you guys are trading this last night. Yikes. That was rough. Hopefully we get at least like a 50 point retracement. This one we might take a little early today. It might not get back up to 50, so I'd be happy taking it at 625.36. It is bouncing off previous day's 50 so far. For anyone in the Discord, make sure that you guys, if you do take a trade today, log it in the trading bot at the bottom, and Leo, myself, and Frenchie will take a look at them and review the trades at the end of the week or even the end of the day. And I think, Marshall, you said you had some issues with it yesterday. You can't click on the plus sign and upload a file. You have to copy and paste the screenshot and just paste it in the screenshot. Paste it in the chat. And it automatically captures it. I don't know if you were trying to upload the file yesterday or if you were actually trying to paste it in the chat. It works now. Frenchie fixed it. Awesome. He's crazy at coding. 2 minutes. This is dead under previous day's mid, I know. You see how good of an entry that would have been, Roland? At 5 minutes. This is exactly what I'm talking about with trends, though, everyone. So we're not by any means going to be trying to play longs today. No reason to. What we do want to look for, though, is just all the wicks that go back up into the trend. This is a pretty steep trend. But all the wicks that go back up into trend, those are what you want to short. You do not want to look at this price action and say, okay, I'm going to long it up to X level and just look for a quick win. Because this price can stay directional longer than you can even imagine. But right now we're not playing the longs. We're not playing what we're anticipating because it might not happen. We are playing the idea that we get a retracement, and then once we do get a retracement, then we can go short. But there's no reason for us to go long at all right now. And if you guys are contemplating going long later today, no reason to do that unless the trend pivots. So if you feel condemned to trade longs for whatever reason today, rather than do that, try to look for shorts on a retest. So if we get a green candle right now, not saying that you should, but this would be an entry for shorts and then target the low or a slightly newer low. Because we can very, very, very easily continue trading down all the way to 620 today. There's nothing that's going to prevent us from going to that level. There are going to be some support resistance levels along the way, but if the trend is that bad to the downside, there's nothing that's just going to magically switch it. As I say that, we held previous day's 50, so we should get a little bounce right now, and then we can short. Hopefully, we get up to IB 50. But I'd be fine taking this even at that London low, and then target some downside to the IB trade. Reason that we're not taking the IB is, anyone have the answer? 20-point reward, and the risk would be 210 points if we were to enter right now, because that's the invalidation of the IB. You were looking for this dump more yesterday. I'm regretting my decision of not entering at London 50. First good reaction that we've had on it for a while, too. The yapping. Not blaming anyone or the stream. I just should have taken that regardless. I think that was your Bob. This was the first time that you've seen London 50 actually work or actually play. Downtrend, retest the London 50. Perfect expansion down to London low. How did I discover the London 50? Honestly, funny enough, what I used to do was I just talking about that trend stat. So price likes to stay in trend 80% of the time. I would just draw 50% on each individual candle and then enter at 50% retracement of that candle. So like right now, if we get a little pop up to 625.16, I would have taken a short there and targeted down to that low of the previous candle because the trend is to the downside. Still waiting for this to retest. At the very least, we get London low. SPY is getting some strength in it right now. Previous day's 50 is holding. I will feel bad because we didn't get all we got was that 20-point trade yesterday, which was kind of lackluster, but we haven't really had a significant IB 50 trade. Friday broke at 10:30.06, so no trade there, obviously. Thursday had no break in the IB, no trade. Tuesday last week was really the only one that we've gotten for the past week and a half off the IB, which kind of stinks. If we get to London low, I'll take a short back in trend. Oh, sorry, I missed that question. R2. London 50 is 4 a.m. to 9:30 open. Any high or low in that time frame. SPY is going up. That it is. It looks like it should line up with Q's hitting London low as well. Previous day's 50 saved it. Oh, what time do I start trading it? After 9:45. No trades in the first 15-minute candle. We might actually be able to just wait for the 50% on the IB for SPY. 625 should be a good psych level to reject off of as well. It's only 40 points. It's not crazy. I want to click it. Click sell ask. I think that would have been a good entry right there. Now it's going to go. I should have clicked it. I hesitated. The day is young. Let's go IB, I know. This is definitely the hardest part with it, is sitting here and waiting for it to retrace, because it wants more downside, 100%. But it might get some upside before then. I trade by groups. So I only have 25 accounts now. I unfortunately blew my 25Ks on Lucid. A little bit of oversizing and just a nasty losing streak on those. So I have 25 fundeds right now. I did manage to take 10K out of those Lucid accounts, which is still okay at 350 to 10,000. But I do 2 different groups. So I trade all my Apex accounts together. And these ones I just trade 1 MNQ. That's pretty much it. 1 MNQ, 1 MGC. I do 2 MNQ or 2 MGC during Asia session because it's a lot smoother. And then I trade the Tradeify accounts separately. Those are my 2 lots that I trade. Almost at 50% on SPY, which I will take definitely. Steven here, about to get his entry. IB stat on SPY, pretty much the same. I have an 80% chance of going to the low today. Yes. I just don't like that we swept the Newswick low. But I will take it with 1 if we get up to 50% here, which we're very close to. There's London low on Qs. Just a little bit more upside on SPY, please. 7,004. Oh, that's a nice psych level too. It's a very nice psych level for SPY. Previous day's 50 saved it. Saved it from an utter catastrophe. Just hit 7,000. I'm going to take a little early on SPY if it fills. It just hit 7,000. I should have taken the entry there. Don't do it. 1 little pop, please. How much is 17 points, Steve? NQ rejecting London low. I missed that too. A little under 185. Okay. I'm gonna put a sell ask in. Hopefully it fills. It's only gonna be 13 points, but 7,000 is a pretty nice psych level for us to hit. It's not filling. Oh man. Man. Q's got what I was looking for too. We got London low. I was not looking for all the way up to IB 50. London low would have done it. Shoot. I have the high set at 842. No, I have everything where it's set, or where it should be. The high is any high or low set between 9:30 and 10:30. So the high, it's an automatic indicator too, so I don't have to do anything. The high is at 629.47 on Qs, and the low is 623.93. SPY, the high is 696.09 and the low is 692.13. This is a different range. I'm not trading the London 50 on either of them. We're using this green box. The London 50 is a different setup. That's why the high is up at 830 from the CPI candle. And 10 points would be $50. It was so close. I had 2 orders in right there. Neither of them filled. Just kept dropping. 7,000 is where we should have taken that, Steve. I don't think it's going to sweep over 7. IB50 is just barely above it, so you increase the risk by 3 points, decrease the reward by 3 points. Still worth it. I missed the London low entry on Qs, 625.39. I don't know how much that would have yielded, like 30 points right now, or 40 points there. I just got my 25K Lucid Pros funded a couple of days ago, and on one trading day, one micro and Q/trade, it really takes the pressure off. It does. No more stress with your trades. Okay, let's see if I get lucky enough this time. Sell one ask. Fill, please. Don't do it to me again. The day of no fills. Come on. I don't really want to chase it any more than where it is right now. Where the order is right now. We missed the 50% retracement by 3 points. It's not super stingy. We don't need to wait for it to get all the way up to that level, because it's very bearish momentum right now. You got to be you got me messed up if this doesn't fill me. Qs is about to take its low as well. I'm crying on the inside right now. Just press it. Press the market order. Is that what you're saying? Or just press the limit? Oh. Yeah, I know. I should have. Oh. Oh. It's right there. What's 15-minute CRT? What is that? What's the CRT? IB50 by lunch. IB50 never. Qs I should have taken. I was watching SPY. SPY is definitely, this is a lot better setup because it's like 10 cents away from the 50, I think. It wasn't very far. What is candle range theory? I don't know what that is. Oh, it's not going to go and fill. I'll look it up. Probabilities. Trading that uses high and low specific candle, often higher time frames predict subsequent price movements by identifying. Okay. I gotcha. Qs, we'd be up about 40 points right now. And it just missed the IB low by 8 points. So entry would have been 25,871. Curse use by. It should go and take the low right now. Just close underneath previous day's 50 as well. I don't want to chase SPY this much. Yep. Yeah, that was London low, where that order was, or where those orders would have been. Yep. Still wouldn't have filled. Just kind of nukes the reward on the trade. It's only 10 points. Qs is looking a lot weaker than SPY now. Nothing yet. It might go and hit the 50 right now. I don't have an order in right now. All right. Give me a little more up. Come on. Push. A little bit more. I'm going to be 12 points right now. You could put a 1-to-1 on it. I swear the ones that I do, the ones I chase are the ones that end up going to the 50% anyway. I'm in a difficult spot right now. I shorted YM at 930 VWAP. YM dumping right now too. Well, actually, it's pretty good retracement. I don't really want to pull up NYM, but I will. Yeah, that was damn near perfect. I haven't taken out the low on MNQ yet. It did close. This should just be a sweep over previous day's 50 because it closed underneath. So it should go and take that IB low within the next couple of minutes. We would have gotten filled at 96. I think that's why I had the order in. Reward would only be 50. A little bit over 50, like $60. It's going to the IB low right now. Q should go and take it. Man, I did not trade very good today. Missed two trades on M and Q. Entry was off London low. I got sidetracked by SPY. Just missed the IB low by 7 cents. Holy flop today. And there's the IB low. I called it so well too, and I just couldn't execute. Son of a bitch. That would have been a 70-point trade. Damn it. Well, not quite 70, 60, 66 points. 120, $132. Damn it. Man, I would have gotten filled on MES too. MES is looking a little stronger. Might still have an opportunity here. Q's did, SPY didn't. SPY's still over it. SPY's looking a little stronger. So we still have time. Q's I'm a little regretful of because that one was a lot cleaner than SPY with the London low. SPY might go and get the IB50 right here. I mean, 7,000 is going to be a really hard level for us to get through. We barely missed taking the IB50. It would have been nice to see a little wick up to. I mean, it would have been perfect. Can you still trade ES even though NQ broke? Yeah, we can. They're lined up. If they weren't lined up, then we wouldn't trade it. But since they're lined up, we can still get into the position. And it would be 12 points right now. $60 and one. Okay, I'll just pull it. Then sell one market. I'll put the buy at the bottom. Don't really want to put the stop all the way at the top, so I'm going to put it a little bit below. Buy 20 stop. So I have short one MES to IB low. I'm getting a little impatient, which isn't good, but it should still go and take the low. I think we're only going to end up making like $70 off of it if it does take the low. If that. It's a 12-point trade, so $60. No, I'll put the stop at the high. I don't think we're going to go all the way up and take the high. If it closes over IB50, then we could add one to it. That's what I'll leave running. We have an 80% chance of going to the low. 80-20. Entry is 6995. Just on one MES. So reward $60, risk is a lot more. It shouldn't teleport up there, so it's not like we're going to be risking a crazy amount. We could honestly put it at 12 points over, so 7,007. That works too. I'll put it right there. It'll just be 1-to-1. If it goes up to that level, so be it. I should leave it $60 risk. Yeah, I'll base it off closures. It's still closed underneath. Oh, that's a nasty pump. You know, I'll leave it at the high then. I don't really want to risk that much, but impatience got me a little bit today. I will add one if it gets to 50. Q's did already take it. That's a little pain. There you go. It closed under previous day's 50 on Q, so it shouldn't have bounced up like that. But the IB might have been the only drawdown for it. If we get to the 50, I'll add one right there. It's just over 7,000. This should have been my entry. Just had to wait a little bit longer. Impatience got me. Now we sit here and wait. Man, Q's, what are you doing? I went dragging it up. Almost at 50. Don't really want to add another one. If we can get a nice tap to IB 50 in London low. Yeah, I'll get another one. Yeah, so in for 2 now. And then I'll put the stop, same spot, take profit, same spot. I wouldn't typically do this, but then that will be the trade we have run into the afternoon. Only thing I don't like is that we swept the Newswick low. We might go all the way up to the Newswick high in Qs now. And SPYs are at 50%. We'll see. If I end up having a red day, it was overdue anyway. So average entry is 6,998 now, down 3 points on MES. Miss entry by 25. Should get in, should be able to get in now. Just hit it again. Oh, missed the IB 50 entry. 0.25. I got you. If it ends up winning, then it's going to be whatever 2 MES is on a 15-point drop, $120. Not bad. This is definitely the hardest part with the strategy. I still struggle with it too, is being patient enough to wait for it to hit the 50, especially with a trend shift. It isn't a trend shift yet, but especially with something like this happening. Q is breaking and then getting a little impatient. We're green on it now, but kind of stinks. Definitely didn't play as well as I wanted to today. But this is the trade that we're going to have running into the afternoon. We have an 80% chance of going in that IB. I'm not going to stick around and stream for it to hit. Just going to have the orders placed. And the reason being, we might have, obviously Q's broke it right at 10:30. Last time we took this on stream, it ended up never breaking, or not breaking until 12:30. So he's not going to sit around for that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream today. If you did, thank you for sticking around this long. Tradeify does not, they do not have monthly cost refunded, no. Stop loss is set at IB high, take profit set at IB low. Average is 6,998. If it goes and hits the stop, I might put it a little bit below the IB, because if we do pivot all the way up there, no reason to risk it to the IB high. So we can actually put it at like, we can risk 20 points, which would be $200, I think. Or 150, 180. All right, see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day.